Hello everyone and welcome to Airships Conquer the Skies. In today's video we're going to be continuing our journey on trying to conquer the Aussies, basically. And again, I'm just using the Aussies because those are the ships I've made. This really would work with any ship that's similar in design to the Aussies, where it's just really cheap, small cheap ships where you can just have a ton of them. Money-wise, we are actually technically a little bit lower, but anyway, we're going to try this out. So I have two new ships on show here. We have the Flying Death Mark 1. I actually already have a Mark 2 of this design, which I'll be showing probably in this video. But this ship is designed, I actually got the idea from this from the commenter. I do not remember the username. You will see the comment on screen now. And he basically mentioned Gatling guns would be really good at setting fires to larger ships if they were on the Aussies. So I kind of thought, well, actually Gatling guns seem to be okay. I also use Gatling guns on the Behemoth, and they seem to do decently. So what if we focused on entirely Gatling guns and flat cannons? So the Flying Death is actually a platform, which again is also I got the idea from the comment, different comment, same user, I believe, but you'll see that on screen now. And basically the idea was having a floating weapons platform where this ship only has one propeller. It's not going to be fast at maneuvering. It does have 4 suspending chambers because I wanted it to have a decent amount of lift, but against the Aussies this actually works really well because usually the AI will send a bunch of the Aussies around. So I actually put some Gatling guns, as many as I could reasonably fit on the back, so not as many as on the front, but still. Put some on the back and then on the back, and then just a bunch of flat cannons up top. Well, not a bunch, but I did design these where each flat cannon is adjacent to ammo and a fire extinguisher. And the ammo is also adjacent to a fire extinguisher. Except in this case, this one doesn't have a fire extinguisher. Either way, point is hopefully we can cut down on fires. We have 6 fire points in here as well. And yeah, so the idea and the goal is just to hopefully not die horribly and actually be able to take down quite a few Aussies with this. Now the second new ship I have on showcase here, I named this the Endeavor. So it's got 2 cannons, 3 Gatling guns, and then 2 flat cannons. Everything else is pretty much explanatory. I just have coal, 1 fire point in the back, kind of covering the coal stores. I do have a couple 2 fire extinguishers up front to try and help with the ammo, and then we have a single bridge, a couple crews. So yeah, basically nothing special. It's only the basic requirement stuff, so ammo, coal, crews, and then the only thing special are fire extinguishers and fire points. So yeah, and we've got 2 of these, and this is the deployment, and we're going up against 26 Mark 1s. That's these 4 groups of 5. So this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one are all Mark 1s, and then these 6 down here, and then we have 2 groups of 5 Mark 2s and a group of 3. So 26 Mark 1s and 13 Mark 2s. So it is a 2-to-1 ratio, which is what I've been trying to keep it roughly at for most of these challenge type videos, dealing with trying to find how to counter small ships. Now, I should mention that even if I find a way of like these ships, 3, 1 large and then 2 medium ships, being able to counter all of these Aussies, this is still only going to be effective against the AI. In terms of multiplayer meta, I don't think large ships are ever going to be, well, unless the game is rebalanced, which I kind of hope it is. I hope that there are some either disadvantages put on small ships or more advantages given to larger ships. And I'm not sure how you would do that, but I would like to see that because I think it would make the game more interesting, because I still think small ships are always going to be moderately useful as cheap cannon fodder, or just they're cheap, maneuverable, but fast. So I think more bonuses need to be given, or again maybe some disadvantage given to small ships that's not too severe enough to make it where larger ships are viable but small ships are still useful. But either way, unless it's rebalanced, the multiplayer meta is not going to change. I haven't actually dived into multiplayer yet. I am planning on it, but I haven't quite gotten there. So from everything I've read, I have done some research. Multiplayer meta, it basically revolves around small ships. And again, some of them are probably bigger than the Aussies, but again, the biggest ships I've seen in some of the guides I read, like they were not even this big. Probably around, like the biggest I've seen were around the size of the Endeavor and probably actually a little bit smaller. So again, we're not seeing any really large kind of capital ship style designs being used. And again, that's just because they're not very good. It's always better to have more cheap, smaller ships, because you can have more. Since they're cheaper, you can have way more of them. Either way, let's try this out. But yeah, to kind of continue on what I was saying before, is I am hoping that, unless the game is rebalanced, which I do hope it is, but if it's not, if the game isn't rebalanced, then we're pretty much going to be stuck with, in multiplayer at least, a bunch of small ships being the meta. Now, that said, in single player, or at least in the design and fights, like in this example, I think I am still confident that we can come up with some design of either one really big ship or a couple of, kind of like this one, where we have one pretty big ship and a couple of medium ones kind of helping support it. If we can come up with some sort of I still think we can find some design. And I say we because, you know, if people have ideas, please show them, or if people make their own videos, I would be really interested in seeing those. But I do think a design can be made to counter a bunch of really small ships when playing against the AI. So again, in this specific instance where you're going up, like in this case, a bunch of Aussies with a few ships, I think a design can be made to counter this. But again, multiplayer, it's not going to be the case, largely because against the other real human opponent, they're going to micromanage their ships a lot better. They're going to, you know, and again, they can also do like suicide runs and stuff. So I still don't think it's going to be able to change in the multiplayer unless the game is rebalanced. But in terms of against the AI, I do think it might be possible. At least at this point, I'm not willing to give up yet. So we're going to keep going. That's kind of what this is. Now, unfortunately, the Flying Death has gone down. But we are, I mean, I say that, but man, look at all these back here that we haven't even scratched. We've taken quite a few down, and we still have 2 ships. We've lost Flying Death, the pride of our fleet. Yeah, that is unfortunate. We do have a few ships still. We do have the Endeavor, both Endeavors are still operational. This one's about to go down by the looks of it, but it's going to take that Aussie down with it. I didn't actually quite disable or take it down, and we are running low on ammunition. We are not going to win this fight, but hopefully we've taken down a few of them with us. I believe the record was the Behemoth. The Behemoth took down 13 Aussies, like basically disabled, or basically it knocked out 13 Aussies. Didn't necessarily destroy them, but knocked them out, either killed all the crew, disabled them, or something. So it took out 13, I believe, is the most I've ever gotten in any of the challenges that I've done so far. So yeah, 13 is the record. So hopefully we might be able to break that with the Flying Death and the 2 Endeavors. And I do have one other one we're gonna do right after this. If we actually do really well here, I might actually run this same exact setup again. And I've actually saved the setup where I have all the Aussies deployed. I saved that without having anything on the other side, just to make it a lot faster to do this challenge for future. Oh, no, there we go. We lost command. Looks like the bridge is down. And, oh, only caught one there. Okay, gonna go ahead and speed this up. Let's see, how many do we take out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we took out 13. In fact, looking at this, we actually aren't seeing all of them. Wait, no, yeah, we are, because that's 1, 2, 5, 6. Yeah, so we are seeing all the ships on here. But again, so we took out 13. That's not that bad. Technically, one of the ships counted as surviving. I don't get that. Like, I mean, we still lost, so it doesn't matter. But we did take out 13 ships. So that's actually same record as the Behemoth. Gonna open up the combat. 23 Mark 1s, 13 Mark 2s. Gonna open this up, and we're gonna try our Flying Death Mark 1. Oh, I want to edit the landscape. Edit the landscape, get these floating islands out of here. I just find them to be largely annoying. I'll just take these out. And we're gonna save the combat right here. Okay, we are going to try the Flying Death Mark 1. It's going to be up front and center. And then we're going to try this. I've never tried aerial torpedoes, but we're about to. This is the Flying Death Mark 2. So, actually more than some slight changes besides just this. So the Mark 1, as you can see here, this is what this looks like. You can take a pause the video real quick. We got all the supply hatches down here, kind of in the center bottom. Got all the Gatling guns here, flat cannons, all this. So then if we scroll on over here to look at this, Actually, here, I'll move these closer together so we can get a better idea. So we, of course, put aerial torpedoes all on the top. We also added a repair bay down here. We put two large supply hatches here because we got rid of the Gatling guns, because this thing's basically going to be sitting at the edge of the map, so no point in having any backward firing guns, and I just put more torpedoes on it. So yeah, and the crew compartments are basically rearranged, and we actually have a smaller crew because we have fewer weapons because we don't have the back ones. So all the air torpedoes, even though they take 2, as where the Gatling guns just take 1, we ended up needing less people anyway. So I cut down 1 crew quarters from the bottom, did the supply we got from the 2 large cargo doors back here instead of the supplies at the bottom, and we added a cargo bay. So that's the only difference between those. Now we are going to put that at the far back, and we are going to start. There we go. Going to go ahead and do this. Aerial torpedoes. So hopefully the aerial torpedoes will do something. Let's see, anything. They're not doing too great so far. I mean, they might. I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell. Looks like most of them are kind of not hitting anything, which is unfortunate. Mark 1 already went down. That was fast. That's going to be going down very fast as well. So I don't think we did nearly as well. I will be surprised. Yeah, we only took down 3. Aerial torpedoes. Never used them before. So that was a quick demonstration. That will be all for this video. A bit of a shorter one than some of the other ones more recently. However, I just wanted to kind of show off those 2 designs. I actually really like the design for the Endeavor. I'll actually open that up real quick to talk about it. Opening up the Endeavor, I actually really like the design of this. And again, this is relatively straightforward. Like, again, this is very similar. You will notice a pattern. A lot of my ships end up looking the same, especially all the ones like the forward-facing guns basically mean all the ships look very similar. Like, this is basically just a slight evolution on the Achilles. Like, if you open up the Achilles here, this is the Achilles. Now, again, it has the bomb bays. Achilles Mark III does not. So Achilles Mark III, this is it. So we just have forward-facing guns, basically a rectangle with a bunch of guns on the front and then some on the top and bottom. And then if we look at the Endeavor, basic rectangle shape, a bunch of guns on the front, and in this case, some guns on the top. And again, the biggest difference is I'm using the large suspendium chamber and the large propeller, as where in the other ones I'm only using the, kind of medium, middle of the road standard size. But yeah, and let's check out the Flying Death just so you guys can get a better look at it. So this is the Mark 1 and the Mark 2. I kind of already showed you the differences, mainly just the weapons and kind of this bottom section here. So this I also think is a pretty cool design. Again, like I said, credit to the idea for this to a commenter on one of the previous videos. Again, I will have that. You all have already seen who that commenter was. I will put it on screen earlier. So this is a very interesting idea, though. And again, you could probably do a better version of this, taking out the grand keel and kind of smooshing it all together so that you don't have because if you didn't have the ground keel here, you wouldn't have to have the, you wouldn't have this amount of wasted space here. So you can make it more condensed down. Now, I do think the grand keel would be a pretty good idea because it does, stuttering over myself. I think it is a good idea because it does increase the hit points of the ship overall. However, as I mentioned previously, due to fires causing, fires getting started and then causing coal and ammo stores to blow up and fires to spread and stuff, I don't know if the actual ship HP is really matter that much, because it seems like most of the time ships are destroyed either by their lift being knocked out, at which point they just crash to the ground, or a fire gets, or they just burn up, like fires get started and then the fire just spreads and burns up the entire ship, or the ammo catches fire and explodes and causes, a bunch of explosions and the ship blows apart or blows up. So I don't know if ship HP is actually worth it is worth the cost of the grand keel as well as the added weight and also just the space it takes up. So I might do a redesign, or not really a redesign, but I'll probably just make a different one of these that's designed as a weapons platform. And again, the weapons you have on here, you could change these all for cannons. Same here. In fact, I probably will be doing this in my current conquest that's going on. the Prussian conquest. So, and yes, this video is being recorded in between some of the conquest videos, so you'll actually know, because in the next conquest video I should mention that I've designed some of these larger ships separately outside of the conquest, which I probably will use some of these designs in that game. Either way, that's all for this video. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to check back for more, and as always, thanks for watching. I said thanks for watching twice there, didn't I? I said it. I said thanks for watching, and then I said be sure to check back for more, and as always, thanks for watching. Huh. These outros, man. I gotta get this down.